The Carnosaurus doesn't have a call, and it doesn't even move. Doesn't even move. Doesn't even move. Hello everyone, this is Sorry on Target coming back at you with a mod showcase update video for Carnivores Desperation. Now, if you remember, Carnivores Desperation Beta 1 was the first mod I showcased way back in May of 2016. And since then, there's been a Beta 2 release, which is what I plan to cover today. Now, this won't be a full-scale, in-depth analysis of Carnivores Desperation again. If you want to see that, go check out my Beta 1 showcase. This is going to be highlighting the primary changes to the mod in the Beta 2 release, as well as covering anything I missed in the Beta 1, for since that was my first ever mod showcase, I was still ironing out the format and there were a few things that I missed. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing that we're going to do today is cover what I missed from the Beta 1 showcase. The first one being that Carnivores Desperation actually has a desktop icon. I can't believe I missed that the first time around. This is such a rarity among Carnivores mods. With the plethora of mods I have installed on my desktop, so few of them actually stand out among the horde of Carnivores 2 icon clones, and Desperation is one of them. So I wanted to make sure that I pointed out that praiseworthy aspect of the mod for sure. Also, the elusive Charonosaurus, which evaded me for so long in the Beta 1, I finally got to work in the Beta 2. The Charonosaurus is the poster boy for the Desperation tour, being the first dinosaur hunters see on the main menu. It is also the last animal available to hunt, available at 750 points. Although it strays from the original tours issued by Dino Hunt Corp, placing a herbivore in the last slot is not uncommon, although if that is the case, the selection is usually reserved for sauropods. Placing a sleek, elusive herbivore as the final animal to hunt is not a common occurrence, made all the more rare by the fact that Charonosaurus is enormous, towering over many of the animals on the Desperation tour. In my top 5 animals to add to Carnivores Dinosaur Hunter video, I expressed enthusiasm at the prospect of adding an enormous hadrosaur to the game, one that dwarfs the monstrous Tyrannosaurus, like Edmontosaurus or Shantungosaurus, and Charonosaurus, surprisingly enough, fills that role well. It'd be nice to see a bulkier, slower hadrosaur occupy that role in an official release, should it ever happen, but Charonosaurus works nicely here. The animal fits the overall Desperation tour's aesthetic, with a vibrant, overly stylized design, wide eyes, and, I'm sure if the last animal slot allowed for it, a warbled, distorted, trumpeting call. A ton of health and quick maneuverability keep the Charonosaurus safe from human and reptilian hunters, and make it a worthy addition to the Desperation tour's dinosaur roster. And now, you guys waited for it, you guys asked for it. The final area to unlock at 9,999 points. I hadn't unlocked this at the time of my first showcase, but I have now, and it is my honor to present the final map on the Desperation Beta 1 tour. The elusive, unavailable map is... Manya Jungle. What? Huh. Well, I can't say I wasn't surprised. Yeah, it looks like that final unavailable map is actually just Manya Jungle from the C2 tour. Maybe a part of the mod's unfinished aspects, as this was the Beta 1 release, or maybe it's just the ultimate troll, but either way, I wouldn't spend too much time earning points to reach that final map in Beta 1. Luckily, the Beta 2 has been released and remedied a few issues that were present in the Beta 1 release. So now we'll cover the update changes that have occurred in this newer release. The first and arguably the most noticeable change is a new menu theme, and I gotta say, I'm not too big a fan. It's a very cool jungle-oriented theme, like a lot of Carnivores mods use, but it feels a little tame and traitorous to the Desperation theme. The original music used in Beta 1 was unsettling, harrowing dinosaur cries and roars coupled with haunting echoes and pained shrieks that really set hunters in what I felt was a more appropriately desperate mindset. Now, this new theme feels a little too much like an upbeat jungle safari, like Dino Hunt Corp has emerged from their time of desperation, thus rendering the title of the mod a little questionable. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I definitely preferred the haunting, desperate dinosaur bellows of the Beta 1. A few minor aesthetic changes that pay off in a big way in Beta 2 are a newly colored wind indicator and compass, now colored a more sinister dark red and green, harkening back to those underlying themes of desperation. All of the weapons now have custom bullet icons as well, which is always a welcome touch that individualizes each weapon in a very cool way. Most of the hunting locations return in Desperation Beta 2, but there are a couple of brand new maps, as well as a redesigned location, with that location being the first one available to unlock at 10 points, Delpheus Ruin. Delpheus Ruin was present in the Beta 1 version as a retextured version of the classic Delpheus Hills, presenting a charred, desolate version of the classic C2 starting map that expertly fit the Desperation theme. And while this new map is good, I don't know why it's still called Delpheus Ruin. Maybe it's to signify the passage of time in that the old ruin eventually began flourishing again, but this map is extremely bright and lush, and doesn't even really look like Delpheus Hills anymore. Dino Hunt Corp even states that the area is harsh and barren, where life struggles to survive. It doesn't look like this area is clinging to life anymore. Perhaps some more tricky deception on the part of the company, but I believe Dino Hunt Corp has pulled enough Greenshires on its clients to last a while. Misinformation aside, Delpheus Ruin is a great new starting area for the Desperation Tour. Soft hills and vast plains cover the landscape, while the occasional mountain or pit thrust themselves in their respective directions to break up the monotony of the island. Large patches of granite are splattered across the landscape, and the cattails and reeds lining the riverbanks provide excellent camouflage for many of the animals on the tour. There's also a large patch of bright green moss that occupies the western portion of the island, easily identifiable by the overhead map. This moss seems exclusive to this region, as it covers the northwestern island as well, and perhaps shows the first signs of the mossy terrain covering the original Delpheus Hills, returning to claim its home. In addition to this redesigned Delpheus Hills, there are two brand new maps to the Desperation Tour, and the first one available at 50 points is Epsilon Junction. Epsilon Junction, which sounds extremely Alaskan to me for some reason, is quite similar to Reverence Bridge. In fact, it appears to be almost the same map with just a few changes to the landscape. Perhaps, along with a potentially futuristic Delpheus Ruin, Epsilon Junction serves as a futuristic version of Reverence Bridge, one where water is scarce, and the island's once notable claim to fame has been buried by the ravages of time. Instead of the many small islands and swamps separated by water of Reverence Bridge, Epsilon Junction is primarily dry, where many of the once separated landmasses are now connected by bone-dry sand plains, and only a small pond in the southwestern corner and an enormous river bisecting the hunting reserve, still connected by the once glorious bridge. A few other notable landmarks include a large empty volcano in the western side of the island, easily climbable but lacking in anything of interest other than a nice view of the surrounding forest. To the north, on the western half of the reserve, is a huge, tangling swamp of trees. This dark grove resembles a mangrove forest, despite not being made of mangrove trees, and is a nice refuge from hungry predators, while simultaneously providing a hunting zone for agile carnivores. However, the thick trees often entangle any animals that wander in, creating a constricting haven that is as dangerous as it is defensive. The other new hunting area, available at 300 points, is the final area available on the Desperation Tour, La Malgrande Mondo. This island was thrust out of the ocean by volcanic activity, and it shows. The terrain is treacherous and hostile, with many steep hills, pits, mountains, and valleys covering the otherwise simply designed island. A consistent wood covers this landmass, with the thickness depending on the area. Huge pine trees cover the island outskirts, while a thin layer of deciduous trees forests the rest. A large mountain range juts out of the center of the island, providing a nice contrast and ideal scouting positions for those who grow weary of the endless forests and dizzying hills. This area allows many different varieties of landscape to exist in close proximity to one another, from stony mountains to light woods to dense forests, providing multiple hunting experiences for hunters with different preferences. However, the terrain is extremely rough regardless, so hunting down any animal in this environment will not be a walk in the park. Carnivores Desperation Beta 2 does not feature any new dinosaurs that were not present in the Beta 1, although a few feature some touched-up skins, and all of them now have appropriate calls, with some even boasting some brand new calls. In fact, I never got to showcase the dinosaur calls in my original Desperation coverage, as not all of the calls were in place, but now that each animal has its own call, I feel inclined to show them off here. The Torosaurus is one of the animals that features a touched-up skin, where the animal in Beta 1 looked quite cartoony, and to an extent it still kinda does. This newer skin features much more detail in the scales and more naturally blended colors, giving it a much more realistic feel, and not so much like it's been plastered with Conte. The DEINONYCHUS is another animal that features a touched-up skin. The feathers on the dinosaur's body are much sharper and more refined, providing it with much more detail than before, and the blue on the dinosaur's snout now reaches farther back along the head, giving it a more naturally blended look, rather than the starkly contrasting edges from the Beta 1. If you recall, a few of the animals in the Beta 1 version had some D3D transparency issues, most notably the IRRITATOR and the RUGOPS. However, these issues have been resolved with the Beta 2 version, and now the animals can be hunted in either D3D or 3DFX without breaking immersion with lots of holes. A few of the weapons have also been touched up or improved in some way, and a couple have been replaced. Several of the weapon names have been shortened or abbreviated, giving them a much cleaner look on the hunt menu. The 8-gauge double-barreled shotgun has received a new menu image and a much cleaner skin, which gives it a more realistic feel, but overall function remains the same. The custom Ibex crossbow has also been upgraded, now firing significantly faster than in the Beta 1 version, which makes it an even more effective weapon than it already was. The scoped pistol, which was a favorite of mine from the Beta 1, has been replaced with the Dino Hunt Corp bolt rifle, the Desperation Tour's first sniper rifle. This sniper is a powerful, long-range firearm, capable of downing several smaller animals in only one hit, but its bolt action makes it a little slow when it comes to firing, so make sure you're at an appropriate distance when you take your first shot, for animals could flee out of sight or get too close for sniping comfort. The W1200 shotgun has been replaced with the Dino Hunt Corp MP5, a 9mm submachine gun. Automatic firearm variants are not overly common on Dino Hunt tours, but now the company has developed their own variant of the MP5 for hunters to use. This weapon does not hit hard, but it fires fast and furiously, which makes it moderately effective against most dinosaurs. Despite its mediocrity, it is fun to use, and makes a nicer addition to the weapons lineup than just another shotgun. So there you go guys, Carnivores Desperation Beta 2, a great addition to the already wholesome Desperation mod. From an aesthetic standpoint, it adds a welcome polish to the mod, and aside from the questionable menu theme and the first island's name, these new additions are solid. But don't just take my word for it, I wholly recommend downloading and playing the mod for yourself. And if that's exactly what you want to do, I provided a link in the description for you to do so. And guys, thank you so much for all the support you've shown this channel. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, and guys, that is just insane. I know this probably gets old to some of you, but I am forever grateful for all of the likes, comments, and general feedback on these videos. And as long as you guys keep watching these videos, I'll keep making them. It's been so long since my first ever mod showcase on Desperation Beta 1, way back in May, and man, it's been quite a journey thus far. Hopefully, these videos can bring some recognition to these amazing mods, and all the hard work that goes into them. Thank you again for watching, guys, it means a lot to me, and I will see you guys next time.